speaker is Mr. David Turner. David is a former William and Mary football player who played under Bill. He is an artist, and he is, of course, a longtime friend. He graduated from William and Mary with a degree in biology and a minor in studio art, and went on to become a professional bronze wildlife sculptor, which he has done now for 40 years. He was the inspiration for Bill's later foray and tremendous success just described by Bo into wildlife sculpting. So, Mr. Turner?
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today, and it's great to see quite a few of you all I recognize, know, it's family and friends. Bill and I go way back. It was 48 years ago when I think Bill's recruiting territory for William and Mary was Pennsylvania and New Jersey, John, southern New Jersey. And when he was up on one of those trips, I guess he'd be away for maybe a week at the time, but he got a call from Jim Root, the head coach, when he was up there, and he said, you know, Bill, on your way back, can you go by the Eastern Shore and check on this guy over in Nancock High School? And Bill said, what, where is this? He had no idea where the Eastern Shore was. I think he had to pull out a map and get guidance, and, you know, there's no GPS and no cell phones, but anyway, he found his way to the Eastern Shore on his way back from the recruiting trip, and talked with my coach, and I met him, and that was 48 years ago, and ended up, you know, playing for William Mary in the fall. And then since then, you know, I was thinking about how do you describe Bill? What can you say? Who is Bill, and how did he live his life? But I keep thinking he was tenacious. He was tenacious in a very positive way. Tenacious, and he was passionate. And his number one passion and showed his tenacity towards is his family. His wife Sue, daughter Katie. He idolized Katie, and he adored Katie. And you know, I've heard lots of things about her till the last minute about Katie and his family. He was passionate about his friends, his family and friends. They were number one. Then I would say coaching. He was passionate. He was tenacious about coaching, and he was competitive. He was competitive in a positive sense. He also was passionate, tenacious about hunting, and that's how we got to know each other years after. Well, not years after, because I think that same fall, 48 years ago, he came over in the Eastern Shore, and I took him duck hunting. And we had quite a few experiences on the Eastern Shore after that, duck hunting and deer hunting and spending out time outdoors on the Eastern Shore, whereas before, he didn't know where the Eastern Shore was. But it became part of his life, and he became part of mine. With his tenacity, it evolved into how he pursued art. And it was probably, I guess it was over 20 years ago, and Bill started seeing things in wood. And it might be something you want to call a psychiatrist about, you know, hey, Bill's seeing things in wood. But he was seeing these things, and then he was able to work them out. See this thing in a piece of wood, it generally birds, sometimes it was a mammal, and he would work it out, and he would always learn. He was tenacious in how he learned. He coached himself. I did a little coaching. Chris White from Loveland does that similar style of work. So you get inspired by other people, and Bill took that, but he took that tenacity and competitiveness, and that's how he got up. I was standing right next to him. I was one of the judges then, and there was no, he didn't like me to be a judge because, you know, there was going to be no favoritism, and I'd be tougher on him as a judge than if somebody else was a judge. But I was there, and you know, they judged him the day before, and then they announced it, as Bo said, on a Saturday evening, and I knew what was coming, And I was able to look in Bill's face when that happened, and it was joy and surprise, and it was a great thing to see. Let's see. One thing he was passionate about, or tenacious about, is life. I think, as some has mentioned earlier, we probably would have been having something like this 10 years ago had he not been as tenacious as he was about fighting the different diseases and stuff that he had, serious fights. But he fought it, and I think when it would have taken any number of other ones of us. But then he fought it in a way that I didn't hear him complain. Some of the worst complaints I heard from him, he said, it's hell getting old, you know. And that was, you know, he didn't, you know, moan and groan and stuff, but I know he was hurting, just as Bo said. Then I mentioned about tenacity. One place and time on the Eastern Shore, I grew up on the Eastern Shore and spent a lot of time on the water in boats and things like that. And Bill was a mountain man, but over on the Eastern Shore, he was with me. He was not a water man. He was not tenacious about the water. He was, as we went out duck hunting one time in a little boat that it was 12 feet long and it's 4 feet wide, plenty big, but going out in that boat, I'm back with the lightboard motor, and Bill was hugging that boat so hard. He was physically part of that boat until we got on ground. And another time we went out to a similar property in another boat, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 the motor just stops, and we're in the bay. And he'd always looked at me to know what was going on, but I had this look in my face, like, what's going on? You know, I was worried, and Bill was worried. And I pulled the motor up, tried a couple things, and then all of a sudden, I just jumped out of the boat. And Bill is like, he's in shock. I knew the water was like 3.5 feet deep, and I had waders on, but Bill thought it was probably 90 feet deep. And he was just looking back at me and just couldn't believe it. What's going on? And actually, one of the first times I took him out on the seaside of Eastern Shore, Virginia, and we went to go walk through the marsh to try to walk up some ducks. And so he didn't have hip boots, and I was wearing hip boots then, but we had an older pair that was still like a size and a half smaller than Bill's foot. But wear these, that'd be fine. So we get out in the marsh, and the seaside mud is pretty incredible. But I grew up with it, and I know how to move, keep moving your feet. I think it helped me with football because every time I pulled up, there was a lot of resistance and keep moving on. But so we get out to a spot, and I anchor the boat, and we jump over into the marsh. I jump over, and then Bill jumps over. He got half a step, and that was it. He just kept going deeper and deeper, and he got all the way up to the top of his hip boots. And he would have been there to this day had I not physically pulled him out with the boots left in there and had to lift him into the boat. And that was one of our first hunting trips. And we shared some hunting trips also with his great friend Bobby Bland. And they were great experiences. Like I say, seeing him, just his tenacity was in a super positive sense. He had tenacity in coaching. He was very competitive. You know, when you mentioned the years when he didn't win or didn't place, and he was disappointed. You know, he would already be thinking about what he's going to work on for the next year. And I don't know if you all know him. You probably talked about a few projects 6 months before the award show in Ocean City, the World Championships. But it was great to talk. And he sent some photographs, and you would visit, and just being able to take a critique and just suggest a few things and learn and grow. But he was a great man and a great friend. I'll miss him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So our next speaker, she last in your program, first in your hearts. Her name is Karen Barefoot, Coach Karen Barefoot. She's the former women's basketball coach at the Apprentice School. And she was hired and mentored by Bill during his tenure as athletic director there. When she was just 22 years old, and her and I have been corresponding by email. It's been a treasure. She said, Bill recognized something in me that I wasn't able to see in myself. He took a chance and entrusted me with an incredible opportunity to start a women's basketball program at a male-dominated school that had never offered women's athletics. Their team won the school's first national championship 25 years ago in March 24th in Maine. Coach Barefoot is a veteran NCAA coach, Hall of Famer, national champion, business leader, a motivational speaker, whose legacy spans the court, the boardroom, and the stage. With 440 career collegiate coaching wins, 20 winning seasons, and 20 championships, including regular season titles, tournament championships, postseason appearances, Final Fours, and of course that national championship, Coach Barefoot built a career defined by excellence and consistency. As a player, she made NCAA history as the first to record 2,000 points and 1,000 assists. And she set the standard for versatility and leadership. Throughout her coaching career, and I think in my correspondence with Coach, I think this might be her most proud moment, she developed 10 Hall of Fame student athletes and served as a head coach at 5 different institutions. And she left a lasting impact everywhere that she led young people. Coach Barefoot.